I mean, the facts are the facts, right?
I'm not gonna take the opposition of Hamas, the main Palestinian opposition of Hamas.
Wait, Dylan,
opinion on Hamas.
Dylan, you know what's funny about that? Dylan, you know so funny. It's so funny that you say that. It just makes you sound so racist. I just want to be honest. It makes you sound so racist.
Let me just be honest with you.
I'm sorry.
You got me. I'm horribly racist.
Hello?
Hello.
Hey.
Can you hear us?
Hey. Hi, everybody.
Welcome. So you had a disagreement with Lonerbox. You wanted him to bring up Israel creating Hamas. Is that correct?
I did, yeah. Yep, that's correct.
It was more so that
Loner, do not bully my fantastic guest here, award-winning journalist. I'm important spreadsheet. Can you tell us how
you were about to say I'm really important? That's really funny that you're about to say that.
You guys, your names are. I mean, I don't know a lot of people with.
They're very. I know they're very similar. It's funny that you said that.
So can you tell me how Israel created Hamas? Because I don't know, and I'm genuinely curious.
Right. Yeah. So it is a really complicated issue. I understand that Lonerbox is going to come from like a, probably some sort of a nuanced perspective that I'm not aware about. But from my end, I'll be honest, it is limited in how I've learned about the issue. But from what I've understood is that Israel created Hamas sometime in like the late 70s and early 80s. And I'm sure like Lonerbox is going to know what I'm referring to. But that's just how I've understood it. So I'm actually curious to see, to learn really how Lonerbox might tell me otherwise.
Well, first of all, I want to know why you were spamming it to me in chat. Like I needed to inject that bit of information in. But now it seems like you know that they created Hamas, but you don't know how or in what way. Or is there any detail? Like, did Hamas emerge from something else, or was it just Israel was like, we're going to create a group of psychos who will have guns and want to kill Jews, or how did that work?
I mean, I think that's kind of like disingenuous, just like boil it down to that degree. But like, I also agree with you that Hamas is a reactionary. They're a very Islamist fundamentalist like faction and party, and they are wrong in everything they're doing in Israel. And I think they're wrong for what they've done to the Jewish people and the Israelis. But I also feel like when you brought them up, you didn't like mention how Israel played a part in their creation. And that's what I was upset about.
Yeah, I didn't give the entire history of from 1987 to 2023.
Well, yeah, I know that, but like I think it's important to mention how Israel the state and the government had a part to play in the creation of this party that we're now unfortunately dealing with because of the 2006 election. And I know you guys were like clowning me because I was at work and I was on my way back, like about how I just saw the one blowback Mehdi Hassan video, and I understand. Yeah, fine.
So what part did they play in the creation of Hamas?
Well, they encouraged Ahmed Yassin, and I'm sure you probably know more about this. So which is why I brought it up in such a neutral kind of way. I want you to tell me how my point of view on this issue differs from what like is actually going on. But from what I've seen, Israel was funding and encouraging Hamas versus the Fatah party, which was the secular, socialist, revolutionary, whatever front that was at odds with the Israeli government at the time, and eventually lost in the 2006 election due to Hamas's, uprising.
So they never encouraged Hamas. They encouraged a group called Mujama al-Islamiyah, which was led by Yassin, and they were connected to the Muslim Brotherhood. But they were a charity. They were not.
So you're right. They were a charity, but it changed and it grew into what we see today as Hamas. So I think like what you're bringing up right now is kind of like it's kind of irrelevant. It's kind of
Israel didn't create. Wait, no. So it's kind of first of all, the fact that you felt like you needed to scream at me and get really angry at me and call me ignorant for not saying it. That you said liar. You were screaming liar in the chat. Like I can look it back for it.
No, yeah, you're looking at my chat messages. Yeah, I understand that. Like,
yeah, so how is I lying by just not mentioning that? So there was a charity.
I think it's an important part.
There was a charity that was unarmed. There was an unarmed charity that had like medical centers, schools, youth clubs. They provided food for people, and Israel recognized them as a charity. Should they not have done that?
I think charity is a funny word in this context because it's not really. It wasn't a charity, and Israel knew at the time what they were doing. So
What
I
were
think
they
you're
doing?
being dishonest.
No, wait. What did Israel know that they were doing?
They knew that they were an Islamist fundamentalist like faction.
Yeah, they knew that they were anti-Semitic and they were fundamentalist. Yeah,
that was at odds with the leftist, socialist, secular party. Sorry, that was the Fatah party at the time, and the PFLP or whatever. And so I think they knew, like, don't you see what I'm saying here?
I see what you're saying. I just don't call that creating Hamas. I just call that they recognize the charity.
No, they're not recognizing. Charity is the one. Like, I understand that you're calling it a charity, and I see that how at the time that may have been the way it was, where like charity might have been the formal term, but it's a little more like it's not. It wasn't a charity.
Yes, it was. They were doing they were doing clinics. They were doing blood banks. They were providing meals.
Yes.
They were providing social care because people lived in refugee camps. They actually helped some people go and get university scholarships.
And, well, I'm
they
sure
weren't armed when Israel was supporting them, right? When Israel found that some of the mosques had weapons, they arrested and jailed Yassin. And then Yassin gets back, and then they become Hamas. I don't know, like that's an interesting story. I've spoken about it. I've spoken about it in videos. I just don't know why when I'm talking about the formation of Hamas, everyone feels like I need to throw in this crucial point that Israel created Hamas as some part of like deranged colonial divide and conquer tactic. It's not like I need to throw it in every time I talk about Hamas. It's just something that lefties do to try to make some excuse. But at the end of the day, Palestinians support Hamas. Hamas created Hamas.
No. Hamas did not create Hamas by itself. It needed backing. It needed some sort of legitimate backing. How do you do that by itself? I know there's many cases where that is done, like you have like a very like it comes from the local level and all that, and it's like, but Hamas was very different. It was a manufacture. It was in the same breath as like the Mujahideen or Al Qaeda or ISIS even. It's in the same breath as it. It's not.
Was ISIS originally a charity that was providing healthcare for refugees?
No, it was not a charity.
It was a charity. Mujama al-Islamiyah was a charity. So you think they weren't doing those things? So do you think they weren't doing those things? You think they were not?
Of course they were doing those things, but it was not a charity. It wasn't.
Okay. Do you think Israel in 1979 saw them as a charity?
No. Do you?
Yes. Yes. They saw them as an anti-Semitic charity, but okay. So they didn't set up a university. Okay. They didn't build mosques. They didn't build schools. They didn't set up a library. They didn't provide social services. They didn't do any of those things?
These are great things that should be done by anyone. What is your argument?
My argument is that Israel didn't create Hamas. Israel recognized a group and provided some level of support to a group for a period when they existed as a charity. They didn't create them. And when they turned into Hamas, Israel
they absolutely created
and then arrested and jailed them.
Loner.
Yeah. And then designated them as a terror group.
Loner, I agree with you. I think that I agree with you there, but I think we diverge because Hamas was legitimately okay, I'm about to use the same word twice, but it was legitimized by Israel, by the state of Israel, because it was a better threat than the popular Fatah party and the Socialist Party. And it was more easily you could attack it better, right? Don't you agree with that?
I'll just ask you one very simple question. So before they were stockpiling weapons, before they were found stockpiling weapons, when they were Mujama al-Islamiyah,
okay,
And this is also actually Muslim Brotherhood. This is around the same time that Egypt is on its path to normalizing relations with Israel. So 1979, when this is happening, when Israel sees them, like Israel, all they can see is a charity with mosques, clinics, blood banks, etc. And they know they're anti-Semitic, but they recognize them as a charity in Gaza, where there are lots of refugees. Should they not have done that? Should they not have recognized them as a charity and not given them charitable status and just treated them as like?
I don't really know how like recognizing like this organization as a charity really matters. I just don't see.
It helps them with their. It allows them like financially just to function properly.
Sure, yeah, of course it does, but I don't really see like. Are you? So what are you asking me?
I'm just asking you if Israel shouldn't have done that. When that was what they knew about them, before they knew that, before I think they even started stockpiling weapons, but when they were unarmed.
I mean, are you referring to an official statement that they said at the time? Because in that case, I don't really care.
It just sounds like your knowledge of this before this call began and ended with Israel create Hamas because divide and conquer, and you were shouting at me as if I was the one who needed to know something. It's okay though.
I mean,
they were a charity.
No,
Israel
okay,
was a kind of. They were like, a little bit.
Your entire. No, wait. Okay. I'm sorry, Lonerbox. One. It sounds like your argument here is that like Hamas at one point, very early in its infancy, was called a charity, and it was called a charity for a certain amount of time, I guess. But you're telling me that, like, based on that, Israel didn't create Hamas, which to the chatters in the chat, there's 795 at this point, and yeah, I haven't read you guys at all, but that's not a very good argument at all. To tell me that there was a charity.
Let's try something. Can I try something quick? Okay. Hamas. I don't know the intricacies of the Hamas was created by Israel like pitch. I haven't heard the pitch. Can you pitch it to me as simply as possible? Because I followed the war in Ukraine for a while. I've heard a lot of like allegations about America overthrew the Ukrainian government. Well, actually, what I really meant is that America gave money to the National Endowment of Democracy, and they give some money to the NGOs that were unrelated to the protest. And I've just seen so many people try to like start with a bold claim, and then like the claim shrinks from that. And I just want to make sure that that's not what's happening. So could I hear your simplified pitch for how Israel started Hamas?
I understand that, and I realize that may be a concern where people don't want to be fooled into thinking that, I'm just saying bullshit. Dylan, are you still talking, or did you?
No,
stop
I'm
talking?
Listening. I'm just listening to you.
All right, good. Okay, good. And also, Dylan, I really appreciate the work you do in Ukraine. I think we disagree on a few things in that regard, but that's
fine. I like to talk to people who disagree with. It'd be boring if everybody who followed me agreed with me. Then what's the point of even me talking? If you all agree, then you don't need to watch my show.
Absolutely. So anyway, back to talking about how Israel created Hamas. I want everyone in this chat. Lonerbox, I know already knows. Dylan, I think you're learning this. Like you're learning about this.
This is the first time I'm learning about all this. I'm like kicking my feet back and forth like a little girl. Tell me about it all.
Sure. Right. So basically, back when the Israeli occupation of Palestine started, obviously you have a lot of like antagonisms, and there's a lot of contradictions at play because of the history involved between Palestine and Israel. Israel being funded by the British Mandate from 1917 to 1948 is when it ended. And in that span, you had a lot of shit happening, which honestly, like, is very important to the conversation. But like at the end of the day, like we have to move on from it. But I implore everyone in chat to look at that period after 1948, which was the Nakba, and then you carry on to the Naksa, and then the Intifada, and then the second Intifada, and so on. You find a period of time where you see a people who are caged in like animals, and they've been referred to as animals ever since then. And they are in a prison, Gaza, ever since the 2006 when for Hamas. Before all of that, in this middle period, you have between 67. Lonerbox can correct me. Between 48 and then
I feel like we're okay. Can we? I want to speed up a little bit because as far as I know, Hamas was founded in the late 80s, right? And we're in the 60s.
Yeah, thank you. I'll speed up. Basically, in between these two very important periods was a really important period in the middle, which was the 80s or 78. 1978 was when it was like coming up. Was when I'm sorry, I got distracted by my cat. Anyway, it was when the Fatah party and the socialist, which was the socialist secular party, was losing ground to this party that was coming up, and then this extended very much on into the 80s, was the Hamas party, which was a Islamist, as I said earlier, Islamist fundamentalist, very religious group who acquired power, and Israel very much so encouraged this kind of behavior. The reason why, and the reason, like, you can see this from the Mujahideen to Al-Qaeda to all instances of when the West interacts with the Middle East. You see that the West interacts and aligns initially with the most radically aligned Islamist fundamental group. This happens at every turn. And this is what happened with Hamas. And then Hamas grew and they gained power as a result of this.
So the West aligned itself with Hamas
until it was too late, and then it spiraled out of control.
How did they align themselves with Hamas? How did they do that?
Through encouragement of their ideology, some monetization. I'm sure Lonerbox knows more than I do on this subject. And I would actually implore Lonerbox to kind of chime in right now and
I mean, okay, I gotta
tell the chat.
I'll do it. I respect you, sir. So I'll be blunt. If you're saying Hamas were created by Israel, but Lonerbox probably knows more about this than I do, and then Lonerbox says, "Nah, that's bullshit." Logically, you just said he knows more about it than you do. Why would I listen to you about it?
I mean, I would actually be interested to see if Lonerbox wants to say anything right now. If not, then I'll contend your point.
I mean, even the people who push this argument, if you look, even the advocates who use flowery language and provocative statements will say Hamas, Israel helped create Hamas, not Israel created Hamas. There's a huge difference because you can
wait.
Sorry, are you still below the word count?
I'm sorry, you're right.
Okay, so it's Amon Bailey. People say Israel created Hamas. The fact of the matter is that there was a charity group, a social religious charity group in the early 70s called Mujama al-Islamiyah, and they provided welfare, healthcare provisions, mosques, education systems. They were rabidly anti-Semitic. The Israeli government recognized them as a charity, and they probably didn't really care that much about how radical Islamic they were because, yeah, you're right, they did actually see, they did kind of like the fact that they were a counterbalance to PLO power. They did like that, yeah. That was a convenience that the governor of Gaza admitted to. So, but as soon as Mujama al-Islamiyah were found stockpiling weapons in their mosques, the leaders were arrested and jailed. And by 1987, they changed from a charity into a political party called Hamas. They were no longer Mujama al-Islamiyah. They were a party called Hamas. Israel did not give any status or recognition to Hamas.
Can you say that year again for everybody?
What year? 1987.
Thank you. So the charity group you're referring to conveniently joined into a terrorist group in 1987. I just want to get that.
Yeah, they changed into Hamas, yeah.
Right, yeah. And Israel had no idea.
What do you mean Israel had no idea?
Israel had no idea this charity group wasn't a charity group?
Israel was supported before they found that they were stockpiling arms.
Right. Yeah. So until the point where they start, what year did the stockpiling happen? What year was that?
Morally corrupt.
84, 85.
85. Okay. All right. Yeah. Wait. So for
Wait,
2 years?
Here's a question. Like, wouldn't it make sense that Israel would get involved once they found out they were gathering guns and gonna be like all terroristy or
well, they jailed the people who were collecting arms. Yeah.
Right. So it's just very convenient for me, at least. Like, I understand you guys, Dylan, Lonerbox, you guys are very fluent in foreign affairs. So for me, I'm not, I guess, in this regard. But I am a little concerned when I look at this kind of history and I think, okay, well, it looks like Israel is doing something that's kind of suspect at some regards, in the same way that America did with the Mujahideen, which I don't know if I said before, but I am Pakistani. I am Pashtun. Like, we have this very similar history, but very, 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 very different with the Taliban. So it's just interesting to me how kind of this is conveniently played out.
How is that? Can you tell me how it's what's similar? Like, is this like America created the Taliban thing?
Well, America created the Mujahideen, yeah.
We didn't create the Mujahideen. We supported the Mujahideen.
No.
Well, right, yeah, you can checkmate me right there, but supporting is a really
these Middle Eastern people just can't do anything by themselves, can they?
Right, yeah, they, of course.
That's the thing, is like you like when you go into Al Qaeda. Sorry,
no, of course, yeah, of course. All of their agency is espoused by the West. Yeah, they can't do anything by themselves. I honestly forgot about that.
Dylan, was the Mujahideen a charity before were they an unarmed charity before they became armed?
They mostly delivered Girl Scout cookies before they got armed.
Yeah, right.
Was ISIS doing charity work before they became an armed group?
Yeah, they installed heaters for the elderly.
Was Al Qaeda a charity group before they? It's almost as if
mostly blood drives.
It's almost as if not all brown people are the same. It's almost as if not all Arabs are the same. You know, it's not as if all Middle Eastern people are the same. They kind of like do things differently in different situations.
Well, the thing that gets me about the Mujahideen is somebody could say that we empowered the Mujahideen. That's absolutely true. Us and the Chinese. People forget the Chinese also empowered the Mujahideen. They don't ever get any blame for it though, because that was due to the Sino-Soviet split. But the Mujahideen, in the opposition to the brutal Soviet dictatorship, was intense in the countryside. There was a gigantic conservative backlash that would have existed with or without us. And the type of I don't know. I don't want to get too much into this, but the type of Pashtun supremacy that the Taliban espoused and behaved in, and how they treated the Hazara community.
Listen, man, I don't even want to get to the Ukrainian shit. Like, I understand.
I mean, that's why I consider it like a Mott and Bailey, because Israel created Hamas is just a false statement. But if you want to say Israel,
it's not a false statement.
Can I finish a single thought, please? Okay. So, saying Israel, but saying like Israel helped create Hamas, that's quite bold. I wouldn't say it that way, but you could make an argument there. Maybe more like Israel turned a blind eye to Hamas, or Israel were a bit negligent when it came to the founding of Hamas. They were opportunistic when it came to the growth of Hamas. Yeah, that's probably true. And also, you could definitely say that the amount of like despair created by Israel's failure in the negotiations helped Hamas. But that's none of these are Israel created Hamas. I don't like it when people like kind of use the Mott and Bailey like that. It's kind of annoying. Yeah.
I'm really sorry that you don't like it that people like kind of accurately gauge what Hamas has done and how they were created in the first place.
It's the opposite of accurate. It's the opposite of accurate when you say Israel created Hamas.
Can I ask some questions?
Wait.
Let me just ask a question. So, did Israel create the charity, or did the charity exist and Israel let it operate and supported it in some way?
Oh my God!
The charity was
because you said Israel created Hamas,
stupid argument.
But you're saying
no, Dylan, okay. Please, Dylan. The argument about the charity is so fucking stupid, and Lonerbox, I think, actually knows that. The notion. No, yes, you do. Lonerbox, you're lying straight through your teeth.
I'm lying. What am I lying about?
Yassine didn't start the fucking. I'm sorry, I swear. Yassine didn't start Hamas. through a charity. It was an Islamist fundamentalist party that Yassin started, like devoid of any like idea you have of a charity in the Western way.
They were a party in 1973?
No, yes, I know that.
They weren't a party in 1973. Who are their? Did they have candidates? Were they trying to get votes? How are they a party?
A party of like of gathering votes, of gathering support.
They weren't a party. What elections were they going to run in?
Why does this matter?
Because they weren't a party. They were a charity that was established in Gaza by.
Okay, wait. Can I ask if you're what word would you want to use instead of charity?
Oregon. Probably like. I would actually use manufactured or coordinated party, or maybe if Lonerbox doesn't like my use of the word party, then
coordinated party.
Occurred is a
manufactured or coordinated organization.
Got a tier 2 subscription.
Like a charity.
No, not like a charity.
Charities can be manufactured. Charities are usually coordinated.
No. That doesn't fucking matter. That doesn't fucking matter. And you fucking know that. A charity like creates a very like obvious response for people.
What is
wasn't a charity?
Okay. Wait, if you want you can
Charities
say it was
okay. People.
Just say if you think it was an Israeli
Were they not helping
because
people?
that's what I feel like you're getting at. Just say it was like an op. It was like a psyop or something like that. That's what you think it was.
No, it wasn't a psyop.
But you said it was manufactured. Like it was just that makes me think like Israel created it, manufactured it. Did Israel create it? Like did they found it, or like what did, or did they?
Wait, you're asking me if wait. You're asking me if Israel created Hamas? That's crazy.
I'm asking you if this organization, which would then descend into Hamas, was created by Israel. And all I've gotten is that Israel allowed it to operate and gave it some support. Like, was it financial support? What type of support did they give them?
Are you asking me or him?
Well, I'm asking him, and if he doesn't have the answer, I can ask you, I guess.
Wait, ask me again. I'm sorry.
What support did Israel give this manufactured, coordinated group, as you call it?
It's creation.
So it created
Israel created it.
So Israel created Hamas. Are we all on the same page?
I'm asking you if Israel created Mujamma al-Islamiyah.
I know I feel like you're fucking jerking me around. Okay?
No, Dylan, I'm not trying to do it at all. Dylan, Loner, I'm trying to tell you guys, like Israel created Hamas.
But I'm asking you what it did. So you're saying it founded it. So we know like the Mossad was like, you're gonna be the founder. You're gonna be like chief of staff. You're gonna be this, and they were like,
all right, yeah. So basically, no, Israel didn't found Hamas because they didn't pick the leader in the fucking cabinet.
No, I'm asking you, how did they create it? What did they do to create it? Because, like, you said they created it. Like
Avner Cohen literally said, Hamas, to my great regret, is Israel's creation. That's literally fucking said by him.
Yeah, this is one guy, by the way. But do you know why?
One guy. I'm sorry. The foreign fucking minister of Israel. Oh, I'm sorry. It doesn't fucking matter. Should we go to Arafat, or does it not matter either? The leader of the Fatah party, Lonerbox, the leader of the Fatah party. Think about it.
What does Avner Cohen say?
What did he say?
Wait. Okay, you said the leader of the Fatah party said that.
Hamas. Not the last quote, but this quote. Hamas is a creature of Israel, said Arafat.
A creature of Israel.
Arafat said that.
What do you think?
So one of the parties, the PLO, that hates Hamas the most.
Oh my God! Yes,
that it was created by Israel. Well, no, it's a biased party. It'd be like, for example, Donald Trump says Joe Biden's controlled by communist China. I'm not going to take him on face value.
No, you're right. You're right. So he doesn't matter. He doesn't matter. So
Yeah, he
should we
doesn't.
use?
No, not really.
I mean, the facts are the facts, right?
Like I'm not gonna take the opposition of Hamas. The main Palestinian opposition of Hamas.
Wait, Dylan,
opinion on Hamas.
Dylan, you know what's funny about that? Dylan, you know what's so funny? It's so funny that you say that. It just makes you sound so racist. I just want to be honest. It makes you sound so racist.
Let me just be honest with you.
I'm sorry.
You got me. I'm horribly racist. Since you walked in here, I had so many slurs like racing through my mind. I couldn't choose one. That's why I didn't get one out.
All right. So as I continue, Abner Cohen, also Lonerbox, I'm sure you remember, said,
I have the article in front of me, yeah.
To my great regret, is Israel's creation.
Again, do you understand someone speaking like poetically? Because in the article, he doesn't say Israel created Hamas.
Yeah. I forgot about that. Yeah, right.
What does he mean? So so when he's using that language, what do you think he means?
What's your argument at the end of this point? Like, are you just saying that like?
I still don't know your argument.
That's anti.
I'm still unbelievably confused.
Loner,
what the line is.
I am like at my brims with you. I don't understand what you're fucking like. Where you're even like, where you're starting from. Your pretense doesn't
let me just ask you one question. Who was the founder of Mujamma al-Islamiyah?
I don't know.
Yassin, right?
Oh, Yassin, sure.
So Yassin starts this organization, which I call a charity. You think is an organized, created, manufactured, formulated organization that incidentally did charitable things. How did he start it? Who did someone tell him to? Did he get money from someone? Was he connected to a different organization?
I don't know that.
Well, you would say Israel, surely, because that's Hamas we're talking about.
Inevitably, but I also want chat to remember that we're talking about a very, very, very disabled person. Did
he get it from Israel? Did this disabled guy get the money from Israel to start the organization?
Hold on, before we continue, Lonerbox.
It's a yes or no question. It's quite easy, actually.
Of course, I know that. I will answer your question, but I'm telling you, tell the chat how disabled this person that we're talking about is.
He was like quadriplegic. He was blind.
He was very disabled. He was very fucking disabled. He had no say in anything.
You can still say things and coordinate things when you're disabled.
Was he
he was an imam. He had power. He had quite a bit of power. The guy was an imam. What are you talking about?
Did he have like mental problems? Like, why couldn't he like organize it? Like, I know disabled people that disabled people can do a lot of things. Actually,
no, Dylan. He was like he had like blind, like half blindness, and he was like very like cognitively disabled.
He was cognitively disabled.
Was he cognitively disabled?
I'm pretty sure he was.
Where'd you get that from?
Right, Loner?
No.
Yes, he was.
No, he wasn't.
No, feel free. Disagree with me. I don't care.
I don't know. This feels kind of racist, man.
No, Dylan. The guy was really.
Why was he disabled? How did he get disabled?
I don't remember why he was disabled.
It was from a sports accident. That's why he got his limbs fucked. That's not why it didn't affect his brain.
He had very serious like cognitive problems.
You're just making shit up. I don't know why you're doing that.
Okay, what cognitive problems did he have?
Okay, maybe he did. Actually, maybe.
Okay. Wow. Why did you say he did?
Wait. Well, I thought he did, but I guess he didn't.
Why did you think that?
Because from what I've seen, but I guess he didn't. I'm sorry.
What did you see that made you think he was cognitively disabled?
Some posts, but it really
what
doesn't matter.
Posts? I'm sorry.
I think this is kind of irrelevant.
Okay.
So how did he start the group? Did Israel tell him to?
Yeah, see, if that's the thing, if we had evidence that Israel told them to found the organization, then that would be Israel like helping to like more than helping to found the organization. If we had some like smoking gun or something.
Did they give him money to? Did they give him money in 1973 to start Mujamma al-Islamiyah?
Oh, they definitely didn't. But what I'm saying is that
okay, so they didn't create. Okay, that's fine.
No, you're missing. They did create the modern state of Hamas that we know now. In the same breath that the U.S. created the Mujahideen or the Al
God, that's all brown people are the same.
But we didn't create the Mujahideen. The Mujahideen already existed. We funded the Mujahideen.
I don't think that matters.
I think that's pretty important. It'd be, for example.
No, I don't think
that's the difference between us creating Ukraine and supporting Ukraine. I think that's a pretty significant difference.
It's like, you know, when you say something, it's like you know when you say like, oh, hey, you're killing me, dude, with these takes. Like, you're not actually killing me, right? And if I said, no, you're actually killing me because I'm like dying of laughter, like that's what you're doing when you say created Hamas, right? That's
no, but you're still wrong in that. Like,
what am I wrong about?
Israel still did create Hamas.
What fact did I get wrong?
I mean, he got you there, Loner.
Yeah, that's true.
No,
it's when true. You say it for a 77th time. Yeah.
I mean, I can't like argue that point. It's like that's the kind of like if that's a condition, then
well, no, this is okay. My problem is when I think somebody created an organization, right? If I said, "Hey guys, I created the Burns Union," no one would be like, "Oh, so what you actually did is you allowed the Burns Union to operate and maybe partially financed it at some point, and then later." Well, that was before it was a Burns Union, and then later it turned into the Burns Union after like 10 years. After you raided and tried to attack it 3-4 years in. Like this, like that, like it feels like we're wiggling a lot here to use that word created. If you wanted to use like say at the start when it was, you know, its descendant organization, the charity, Israel allowed it to operate because it wanted opposition in, you know, Gaza and the West Bank. It wanted more people against the PLO and Fatah. That'd be fine. You could say that, but that's a lot more nuanced and a lot less radical and a lot less punchy. And I think that's why people wanted to say, you know, Israel created Hamas. It's punchier. It's like, oh, so not only is Israel at fault for bombing the Gaza Strip, Israel's also at fault for all those people who got shot in southern Israel. You know, you drag it all back to Israel's fault.
Right. So, Dylan, for me, it sounds like you're just trying to revert, kind of reroute animosity towards the Palestinians. Do you think that you're doing that or no?
You know, that was actually my goal. That was what I set out to do when I started today's stream.
Right. Of course, you're not trying to do that. And so I'll interject you there and try to like rephrase what I mean. And what I mean is that, like, I feel like the way you talk about this issue is really trying to delegitimize the Palestinian movement and what they're working towards. I understand that Hamas and Lonerbox, I know how you feel about this issue. And again, I want to reiterate, I want to reiterate by saying that, like, I really do like Dylan and Loner, but I do disagree with you guys on this fundamental route. I'm like a, you know, leftist orbiter, I guess you'll say. But what I want to say is that, like, I do support the Palestinian movement and what they're doing. I agree with you guys.
Okay.
That Hamas. Wait. You guys can talk. I understand, but I do agree that Hamas is awful. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay. I, as far as I'm aware, I support the Palestinian movement as well, and I'm going to speak for Lonerbox here and say he probably supports the Palestinian movement as well, from everything I've heard from him. When you say I support what they're doing, let's narrow that down a little bit more. Do you support everything that's happening right now, or do you support certain things that are happening?
I would support certain things happening right now. Yeah.
Okay. Because you wouldn't support like the shooting at the music festival or anything like that. I just wanted to.
Yeah. No, I
Okay,
saw
I just
that.
wanted to clarify that.
I would not support that.
Yeah, that's good. I don't think it's necessary to support the Palestinian struggle. In order to support
I think you're wrong in every category.
You know, let me finish my sentence.
All right. Go ahead.
I don't think, in order to support the Palestinian struggle, I don't think you also need to accept the premise that Israel created Hamas. I think you can both support the Palestinian struggle and acknowledge the nuanced history of the creation of Hamas. I don't think those two things are separate. I think that you know, I understand why people want to believe it. But if this is the evidence for it,
no, Dylan. I'm sorry. If I create
I need to go, guys.
Okay.
But it was nice talking.
It was nice talking to you too, Loner, man. You have a good one, okay?
A lot of things were created in this conversation. A lot of feelings were created. Okay. I love you guys, all right? And your Dylan chat. All right, bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.
Spreadsheets.
Yeah.
Spreadsheets.
Yep.
Come on, man.
Dylan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right, thank you. So, I'm saddened that Loner has to go, but like, come on, man! Like, you gotta like feel for like the Palestinians. They're getting fucked over. They're getting like imagine for a moment. You are like I imprison you. I take away your like restrictions on electricity, water, food. I bombard you with threats of violence through IDF, brutality, or want to kill you in other regards, and you stay steadfast. And then one day you decide, hey, I want to resist. I want armed struggle. Why would anyone, even in your chat, why would anyone want to like be against that? I don't get it.
I think it depends on how people resist. And also none of those things
matter.
It shouldn't matter at all. 100% matters how people resist.
Is occurred.
100%.
No, it
shouldn't. 85 has donated $5.
Somebody was to,
I just
for example,
created Dylan Burns.
Kidnap civilians. Would that be something that'd be okay resistance?
Of course not, but we can understand why they would want to do that,
doesn't it? And none of this would change whether you, as the jailer of me, created Hamas.
Dylan, we would both want them to like lead in the way that they should, right?
Lead? What is that? Yes, I believe people should do good things.
But that might mean that they should lead in a way that we might not disagree with, that we might not agree with morally, right?
I'm sorry, what? Hear that?
Dylan, you and I.
Have you possibly been drinking tonight?
I've had a little, yeah.
Okay, man. I hope you have a good night and you sleep it off. Appreciate you coming in here.
Wait, Dylan.
Yeah?
Can you please answer my question?
You're very intoxicated, man. I think it would be best for both of us if you...
Dylan,
yeah?
If you and I have a drink together, do you think that we should both be like, just like, it only makes sense that this would happen. It's on a fucking stupid, like, oh, cringe, like, Native American like take. Like I'm saying that
cringe a cringe Native American take, huh?
Yes, for what you were like, making fun of earlier.
Making fun of. Yeah, I don't think that like that any.
You were literally making fun of this earlier. Like I don't know what you're doing right now.
Look, oh, you mean? Look, sorry, it's hard to understand what you're saying, man. You're referring to the idea that Native Americans could kill anybody at any time, basically. Yeah, I do think that's cringe. I think that's stupid, and I don't think Native Americans want to kill everybody. Very peaceful people, generally.
Yeah.
So yeah, man, I appreciate you calling in. Not everybody is willing to call in, so I do appreciate that. Awesome, man. You have a good one, okay? Don't found any charities.
Immoral,
that shit gets out of
morally
control
corrupt,
real quick,
bankrupt.
okay?
Yeah. You too, bro.
You too. See you later. Disconnected. Still in there. I don't think he knows how to disconnect. Still in there. Was not disconnected. Just live in there now. In my Discord chat. In my what? I will not disconnect. I'll let him hang out in there. Man.
A curd is a curd.
_IVMI_ has donated $5. The classic Burns line, "Sir, have you been drinking tonight?"
It's a good dude, I could feel it. I could feel it through his words. Like,